So, man, going into that TCU game, bro, I'm like, man, that TCU just played in the national championship. It's a
Yeah.
road game. It's gonna be crazy because it's Prime's first game. You know what I'm saying? So I was just like, I didn't know what to expect. To be honest with you, I didn't because it was a lot of turnover. Everybody was hammering Colorado because of the roster. So it was like, all right, well, but you got the element of surprise on your hand. So and I was like,
Yeah.
Coach Prime
And
ain't gonna get embarrassed.
oh no. No, not a chance. And the craziest thing about that TCU game is I don't know if you remember everything people were saying before that game, all the analysts and everything. They're like, hey, this quarterback is actually the real starting quarterback from last season. Like this was who was supposed to be the starter,
Mm-hmm.
but then he had got hurt early on. So then Duggan ended up playing. And I was watching back the film. I was like, okay, I was like, he's decent, but he's not, doing anything special. And I went back to last year's Colorado game. And if you just look at the box score, then, it was okay, a blowout. But they didn't get up by more than 2 possessions until like the fourth quarter. So I was like, if they could barely do that on last year's Colorado, oh yeah, wait till they see what Shador and them boys are going to bring.
Yeah, no,
So
I agree with you
I
on
was,
that.
I was definitely optimistic about it, but I wasn't like, okay, we just gonna go in and dominate like they did.
Mhm.
And you were here during that game, and I remember that first series. They went down, scored that first series. I said, oh yeah,
It's on.
it's gonna be on.
They
Yeah,
cooking, right?
yeah, yeah,
What
it's
I
gonna be on.
mean, that's what I was thinking about. And then, TCU, to their credit, they didn't know what Colorado, they didn't know what they were walking into, right? And
No.
I felt like they probably came out thinking like, oh, we're gonna just blow these guys out,
Oh,
but then
definitely.
it got serious. And then the heat
Yeah, I
got
mean,
going on. Because it was a heavyweight fight. They started going blow for blow.
yeah, and I saw an interview of a linebacker before the TCU game, and he was like, "They're showing way too much on social media. We know all their plays, all their formations. Whoop de whoop." Like, hey, 45 points say otherwise,
Yeah.
because they was putting bombs on them,
Oh
and it
man.
it, it could have been worse. Travis Hunter had that touchdown we could have had, where he ended up dropping it on the dive. Shador could have had another touchdown to him that was a little underthrown. And when you get teams in those situations where you're up by, 2 possessions early and they're the underdogs, it makes them start playing a little frantic and start making more mistakes. So that game could have ended up a lot different. And that was a tough one, man, because it was back to back to back as far as the scoring. It was like,
Yeah.
hey, whoever makes the first mistake is going to lose.
Yeah, because
So yeah,
like I said, yeah, they started trading them blows. But I mean, man, that offense came out. Shador had over 400 passing yards.
oh yeah,
It was just like, oh, and they had
yeah,
4 players. Colorado had 4 players over the century mark.
yeah.
It was
No,
wild, bro.
that
And
was
then,
unbelievable. I was like, oh my god, I was like, man, we're gonna go crazy every single game. When I saw that, I was like, no way, we got receiver Dylan over 100, Jimmy over 100, Xavier over 100, Travis over 100. Like that couldn't have been a better game. That was definitely easily my favorite game of the season. And it came out because they had a point to prove.
right, right.
Prime had a point to prove. Shador had a point to prove. Travis, coming from HBCUs, like y'all thought we were only good on that level. And I tell people, I played at the University of Nevada. I was a high school All-American.
Mhm.
I spent time in camp with the Atlanta Falcons. The only difference between the top HBCU teams and the top Power 5 Group of 5 teams, it's the interior.
The
The
line, the
DBs and
line.
receivers,
Mhm.
they can go. They can. If it was a
Yeah, I
7-on-7
get it.
tournament, it'd be
Yeah.
completely different. But when
Well,
you get down
the
to them big
DBs,
uglies,
receivers, and the quarterbacks. Yeah,
yeah, and the quarterbacks, yeah.
right. So,
But
but
when you get down to those interior boys,
mhm.
it's different.
Why do
It's
you think it's
different.
so different? I mean, what is it? Is it like the
A lot of it's
workouts?
size,
Oh, just okay.
and I mean you can see that with Colorado's line. We're good enough to stand up against TCU, and you
Mhm.
saw how potent the offense could be. But
Right.
then as we started going through the season and we faced like D lines like Oregon, that's when you saw how much that can impact a game to where Shador could not get the ball out. Like there's not
Mhm.
enough time. So it doesn't matter how good of your receivers that you got, running backs, etc. If you can't hold a block for 2 seconds, it doesn't matter. And
Right,
that's
right.
that difference se for the HBCU, the Group of 5, Power 5. Like 7-on-7, you good, but when you start getting beat up there, you can't run, you can't stop the run. It's hard to win, and that's one of the favorite things I heard Coach Prime say this offseason was his goal is to run and stop the run. And growing up a Baltimore Ravens fan, that's what I'm built on. You know, I'm a defensive guy. Hey, run and stop the run.
Run and stop the run.
So that was a great one. And yeah, we definitely took that spread plus 21.
Plus 20. Hey,
had to make that happen.
T-Cal sold his car and put the money on the spread. This is real talk. Like real
so
talk.
I literally that wasn't my main car. It was it was a car I was already planning on getting rid of. But man, I'm looking at the spread and I'm like, hey, we're not gonna get too many more chances at something like this while Coach Prime's here. So I was like, hey, I gotta get rid of this car. So I sold it, I think, the morning of the game to somebody. As soon as I sold it, drove straight to Tennessee. I was like, yeah, putting this all on
crazy,
all on the spread, and hit that, and man, that was lovely. And then, as you know, Dad turned $2,000 into 30 something. So yeah, that was something
racks.
That was a great one.
Coach Prime, wonderful. That TCU game, man, wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. So then we go week 2 at Nebraska. This game started slow. It started really slow. And in this game, what they were doing a lot of was they were rushing 3 and dropping 8, which was something that took Shedeur a little bit of time to figure out, their scheme and what they were doing. Travis was open a lot early when they tried to go man, but they were doing a lot of 8 zone drops, which was good for us because we weren't getting, as many people rushing. But at the same time, it makes you hold the ball longer because the field was so condensed. And I think our first touchdown ended up being to Tavares Dawson. Remember, it was a deep crossing route. Scored that. And then Cameron Silman Craig had a really big interception. And once we got those, I think in the third quarter is when we really separated on them.
Yeah. I just felt like, honestly, I was worried about the Nebraska game because after the TCU game, like, you built up and I was like, man, this might be a trap game, right? Because I'm like,
and it's a huge rivalry,
right? And then you spend all that energy going into the TCU game, and then unlike TCU, Nebraska knew that they had to take you serious right out the gate.
Oh yeah,
it's like, okay, we can't play with these guys, so we got to bring it. And so then I was kind of like, oh man, I'm kind of worried, as a fan. I'm like, oh man, I'm looking, I'm like, ooh, but I'm like, you know what, it's Coach Prime. Let's see it. And, they, the schedule didn't do them any favors. Let's put it that way. So
yeah, no, not at all. And the thing that I was definitely concerned with that game is, like you said, it was a rivalry game. So I was like, how are we gonna, show up for this game? Because most of the Colorado players are new. So it wasn't as big of a rivalry game to them as it was, to people that had been there, had been in that rivalry for a long period of time and stuff like that. But they did everything that they were supposed to do. So I definitely enjoyed it. Thought it was a hell of a win. I think Shedeur ended up like just short of getting 400 passing yards. But man, he was slinging it. He was slinging it.
I thought it turned out. I mean, when you look at the stats, Shedeur had over 393. Xavier Weaver just balled out.
Yeah, he had a good game.
Oh man, he had like 170 receiving yards. If Colorado put up 36, I said, "Ooh, okay, we rolling now, boy. Prime, that's that Prime effect."
Yeah, no. And again, we started really slow that game. I actually have a clip from that game. And that's mainly what I was worried about in that game was like, hey, we're starting really slow. Here's us down 3-0. But like I said, this is Cameron's interception. This was a big one. The second quarter, right before half, huge to get that and get a turnover. I think we scored right before half. Not sure who got the ball out of half, but either way, that was a really big play that we needed at that time. So that was another big game. And then obviously we move on to the game that everybody knows, and that's the Colorado State game, which was absolutely insane.
It was everything you could ask for and then some.
Man, I remember that game started at like 9:30. I'm in Central Time. For you, that started at 10:30. That was a late game. Yeah, that game that had me stressed out. I ain't gonna lie to you. That game had me stressed out. And it had me stressed out because of the way it started. So I remember it started out, Colorado State was backed up. They backed up. I'm thinking we're gonna get block punt, something like that. Don't get the block punt. We get the ball. I'm not sure how they got the ball again on that one, but I remember after they got the ball again, Shiloh had what should have been an interception. And I think they either ruled the ball hit the ground or the quarterback's knee was on the ground when he got that interception. So I was like, okay, it is what it is. And then after that, we ended up getting Shiloh had his pick six, which, was definitely the play of the year for him. Like, that was an amazing play. And
epic. As a fan, I was going nuts. I was like,
bro, the way he read that play was crazy, like absolutely crazy. Got the pick six. So I was like, cool, we're in a really good situation. And I was either talking to you or on the phone with you during that game. And I was real confident early because I'd seen them score off of that trick play.
Right.
If you got to do trick plays this early, that means something's wrong. Like, that's extremely early in the game to be doing trick plays. So they had scored off that trick play. They threw it to that tight end who he was balling. The tight end for Colorado State was getting it in. He had a great game. There he is. Or no, that's not him. Let's see. Yeah, so we had Shiloh's pick six, and then Dallin Hooker. He had that pass from Torrey Horton. That was the receiver on the double pass. Then right after that, Travis had the fumble, returned it for a touchdown. Zay had scored. Let's see. And then there's no other scores again until the fourth quarter. So yeah, we're down, what was it, 30? Oh, we had tied them up 35 at the end of the game. But yeah, we're down 35-28. And in the fourth, we're down 28-17. 11 minutes left, down 28-17.
Yeah, man.
And that was an insane play he scored on that one. That one had me mad. Because Silman Craig almost had the PBU. He grabs it, feels like off the turf, turns upfield, and gets loose. So, yeah, that one was definitely a stressful one. But I think it really showed. Oh, let's not forget the dirty play on Travis Hunter, which
took him out the game.
Affected the trajectory of our season, in a way. But throughout the game, it was just a real gritty game. But I think it really showed what Colorado was made out of. You had people stepping up and making plays. Mikey Harrison, we had not really heard of him during the season until that game. Jimmy Horn Jr. had a couple bad drops in that game.
Right.
And that's what I love about Coach Prime. I played for coaches, terrible coaches, Brian Polian, that don't know how to coach players and don't know how to coach dogs.
Right.
And you could see on the Coach Prime episode that when Jimmy dropped that, he just went up to him and told him, hey, you a dog. You going to make up for that. And he's like, hey, remember your dad's watching. Like, go make a play. And that's what Jimmy did. So being that type of coach, like, man, that changes everything. A coach that you're not afraid to make mistakes from, you can go out and play. So Jimmy came up big for us. Mikey Harrison came up big for us. And obviously Shedeur just balled out of his mind.
He went to a whole nother level. And,
absolutely insane.
I think that turned out to be when Travis went down, everybody's held their breath and was like, oh, man, what's happening? But I think that also, to me, put more respect on Colorado as a team itself. Because usually when a star like that caliber goes down, people start like, oh, they might just start to fold, or they might, because, they were down and then then you lose your star. You're just like, oh, okay. But no, man. No, Shedeur was like, next dog up.
So I can say for us, it did that, but for the haters, it didn't. They were like, oh, well, you're supposed to beat Colorado State. It's Colorado State, but for us, that's impressive.
Right.
Travis is different, man. Like, There's never been anyone that
He's
has
that
done,
guy, bro.
bro.
He is that guy.
There's
Literally.
never been anyone that has done what he's done as far as playing these type of snaps. Like
Mhm. And
Charles
to
Woodson
be
has
elite
played
on both
on
sides,
both. Yeah.
that's crazy.
Charles Woodson was getting a few reps here and there, some reverses, but he wasn't playing play after play after play after play. Like that was, I mean, we've just never seen it before. So being able to see those guys do that and have that success was amazing. Let me see. I think I got a couple clips from that game. Yeah, so this is, if I can get to it. This is how we make it. Jimmy cuts up, scores right before the end to get us in overtime. And that's when we needed the 2-point conversion. So I wasn't even as happy as I wanted to be at that point.
Because
I'm
you know
like,
you still
hey,
need the 2-point conversion.
we still needed the 2. But I'm like, hey, ain't no way we just drove down all the way this field to not get the 2-point conversion. So once we got that, I was like, cool, you know, we're gonna rock and keep things going. And then after the Colorado State, we go to Eugene, and yeah,
so the good, the bad,
yeah,
they got ugly.
It got very ugly. And I wasn't happy with the game plan that I saw that game. I didn't know that Oregon's D-line was going to dominate us like that to start off.
Right.
But the biggest thing that I was unhappy with that game is we weren't getting the ball to our playmakers quick and in space. And that's what I felt like Oregon did really well. Bo Nix wasn't throwing the ball downfield. Like it was dink and dunks, quick motion the running back out, get it to him now. And that's what I felt like we could have done more of. We had playmakers in space, Xavier Weaver, Jimmy Horn, Dylan. Get those guys the ball in space immediately because we're doing a lot of vertical concepts, it looked like. And Shedeur didn't have the time to let those develop.
He didn't have the time with that defensive line, right?
It's like every time he hit his back foot, they're right there. So that game was frustrating on that end. Defensively, that was frustrating, man. I was so mad that game. I remember there was, I think, a 4th and short conversion where Bo Nix was turned it basically into RPO. When he turned into this RPO to convert, the lineman is standing at the field goal post. Like that's illegal lineman downfield. Like y'all can't just let that slide. But the one play of that game that was the dagger early was the fake punt. When they ran that fake punt from like their own 20 and got like 40 yards from it, I said, yeah, that's it. Because the offense kept going 3 and out. And I've been in that position as a defense. When you hear punt alert 3 plays after you just came off the field, guarding a super high paced offense, like not only are you mentally demoralized, you're tired. Like you're literally tired. So they kept having to be put on that field over and over again. And it just got to the point where I'm like, yeah, this isn't going to end well. So claps to Oregon for doing that. Didn't like what Dan Lanning said at all. I think that's not tough as a euphemism because you wanted to be respectful all week leading up to the game, before the game, etc. But then when you go into the locker room and there's cameras there and you know that's not going to be seen by the other team until the end of the game, that's when you want to start talking crazy. Right, they're playing for clicks, we're playing for wins. Like, no, if you had that energy before the game, you should have said that. Like, don't wait until it's going to be seen on TV, but none of Colorado can see it until after the game to start talking crazy. Like, I didn't respect that at all.
Yeah, but I respect what Coach Prime said. He said, we hold all receipts.
Yeah, and he said,
I
"Get
look
me now."
forward to that rematch.
Yeah.
I look forward to that rematch.
If it's not in the playoffs, we got to get a non-conference game scheduled.
Yeah, they got to get a non-conference game scheduled. You know.
Yeah, but I'm definitely looking forward to that. Oregon finished off to have a decent year. Got beat by UW twice, but yeah, like Coach Prime said, you got to get us now. And now you see what we've done in the portal with linemen, getting Shedeur what he needs, because we've seen what Shedeur does when he has time.
Right,
like he's going to eat your defense.
He's gonna eat you alive. And I just, when you go back to the Oregon game, I just feel like they knew that they couldn't play with Colorado. And then with
Mhm.
all the press and all the hype that was around the Colorado program, they became everybody was like, okay, we they want to give you our best shot. Like you
Mhm.
don't get, to me, Colorado became, hey, you guys was in the Super Bowl last year, so you're gonna get everybody's A game. Does not
Yeah.
matter. You
Oh
got the
yeah,
bullseye
absolutely.
on you. You got the bullseye on you. People.
Yeah, that's who everybody wants to beat. That's the number one that they want to play because of all the attention. Yeah, everybody wants to beat Colorado. So
And
then
to
we
the head
came.
coaches, I think it matters because
Oh, for sure.
if you're trying to get the same recruit, you have to say, hey, well, we beat Colorado because that's the only thing
Mhm.
you're gonna have that you can bring to the table. Because if Coach Prime walks in, it's gonna be like, man, that's Coach Prime. I got to see. So I can kind of understand where Oregon's coming from. You feel the pressure,
Yeah, and I mean the coaches are mad. They're like,
right?
"Hey,
Yeah,
this dude just came in and he's getting all this attention." But
yeah.
you gotta realize, that's arguably the greatest football player of all time. Like that's not no, you
Not
know,
just anybody.
yeah, that's not no run in the mill coach. That is Coach Prime. Like that's Oregon literally was just playing UW wearing his shoe. They're wearing the prime time cleats. Like that's how big he is.
The
So,
ultimate level of respect, right? Like,
yeah, absolutely. So that's something, that you gotta admire when you see Colorado and what they got going. Um, so the next game we had is the USC game. USC game was crazy, obviously. We were down big. I don't remember how much we were down by, but it wasn't looking lovely early
I
on.
mean, yeah, because USC came out put the 14 up on the first quarter, you know, and then when they put the 20 up in the second, but we was able to bring 14. It was crazy. You know what I'm saying? And actually, bro, honestly, doing this recap, and I'm sitting here
Hmm.
reflecting, I'm like, Colorado wasn't that far off, bro. Like these losses wasn't as bad as I'm like, man, we were right there. Like that 4-8 could easily flip flop.
Oh yeah,
They could
absolutely.
easily
Like it
flip
wasn't,
flop.
and that's why I told people. And let's go back and look at that schedule real quick. Like if you go back through these, we
Hmm.
had a lot of chances to win. And this is a game where we got to see somebody that we hadn't seen. I had heard of him, but I
Hmm.
was sending you every player on the roster, sending you film of everybody. So we had heard of him, but we didn't get to like really see who he was. And then we finally got to see who he was, and that is Omarion Miller. And he had an amazing breakout. Like that is crazy. I think he went for uh, right at 200 yards as a true freshman who has seen very limited playing time all year. Like you don't see stuff like that happen. And let me pull that up because
Yeah, he had
he had,
196 receiving yards. Just
yeah,
crazy.
as after having, I don't think he had a catch at all before that the entire season. So that was something that was like, okay, like, hey, he's here to play.
We
He's
got
for
him. And
real.
that's what he's
I
the
got,
second true freshman. Because remember Dylan Edwards in the TCU game. So
yeah,
it's like, hey, we
it,
got the talent. Don't
yeah,
get it. Don't
two
get it.
breakout freshman game. Like I
Yeah.
can't imagine as a true freshman having games like that. Like that's something that just doesn't happen. And like, yeah, Dylan, 4 touchdowns. Like four
As
touchdowns
a
in your
true
first
freshman
college football game.
against TCU on the road. That was
Yeah,
crazy.
that
So when
was,
you
I
speak of
mean, that's,
Miller, I'm like, yeah, man.
yeah,
Don't sleep. Don't sleep.
no, they definitely came out making plays. And we can see here, this is this insane 4th and 5 when Shador finds Amari in the back of the end zone. Like just crazy. Throwing across his
Look at
body,
that
breaking the
ball. Right.
cardinal
Look,
rule.
look where he
Man,
put it at.
perfect ball. And Omarion stepped up in a big, like 4th and 5. Had he just had this play and nothing else the entire game, I'd be like, hey, that is a dog play for a true freshman. But the fact that he mixed that with everything else he did that game was just absolutely bananas. So let's see who we went to in the next game. who did we end up going to the following week? Let's see. So right after USC,
after USC, we rode on Arizona State.
Arizona State. And this was a good one. I think we could have. So Arizona State is not the team that their record showed, as we saw when they played UW shortly after they played Colorado.
Right.
Like Arizona State's for real. Like people thought Arizona State was just walking the park. They weren't. They're kind of like the Detroit Lions last year, where their record didn't look good, but they were in every game. This was a good game. We got to see Mata
do his thing. Mata bought that magic.
Man, Mata had some great games. So yeah, we started out ASU scores first. Then we had Xavier Weaver. I think he had a reverse and scored early. Then we go get down 14-7. Shedeur ran right before half and scored. That's when he flashed the watch. That's something that I want to see a little bit more of from Shedeur in this next season is being able to use his legs. I don't want him to depend on his legs. I don't want him putting himself in harm's way, but he's sneaky athletic.
He is. Yeah.
He can run a lot faster than it may look. He's not a quick twitchy runner, but he's sufficient for sure. He can move when he needs to. And if I'm not mistaken, I think he was our leading rusher this year. Like, and especially if you take away the sacks, because in college football that takes away your rushing yards. But he had a really good season. And then we had another person emerge who has left us, which is Javon Antonio. He had a touchdown pass here, and then he had that bomb right at the end of the game, right after they go down, 50 seconds left. Shedeur throws that bomb up the sideline where he went Brady mode.
That's it.
Man, and who do we put on the field?
Alejandro Mata. Magic Mata. Hey, he don't miss.
Hey, he's automatic. So he comes in, saves the day. So right here, what's our record? I think we're 4-2.
We're 4-2.
So we're 4-2 going into Stanford. And man, I just knew this game was it was done. I actually fell asleep because this was another really late game. It was 9:00 kickoff, and I think I pushed back to 9:30 as well, just like the other one. So it was a really late game, and I'm like, hey, we're up huge. There's no way they come back. I think I fell asleep maybe in the fourth.
I had to go to sleep because I had to get up to go to work, and I was like, man, this is game. Like this is, I ain't even got to stay up past halftime. This is a wrap.
That was the dagger in our season, like an absolute dagger. Because we started off really, really hot that game, and we're 4-2. I think it was going into the bye week, so we win that. We're 5-2. We're one win away from being bowl eligible, and there are actually some 5-win teams that made it to bowls this year, and we definitely could have had that opportunity. So we're 1 win away from 5-2, and would have been good going into the bye week 5-2. We got winnable games still left on, but I think that game really demoralized us as a team. Like that was one where it's like 29-0, bro. 29-0. And to lose that, especially the other part of it was Travis's first game back. And Travis had a hell of a game on offense. On defense, it was a rough one, I'm gonna be honest. It was a really rough defensive game. Their receiver went for 200. He gonna get drafted off of that game. Like right. Absolutely crazy. But that was it was a tough one to watch. What were your thoughts on it?
No, I agree with you. I mean, when we had 2 overtimes from, it went double overtime. I mean, that game was, even though Stanford came back and tied it, I still felt like, oh, okay, well, we got lazy, but we'll still pull it out in overtime. Then we went into double overtime. I'm like, oh man, you playing, you too close to the fire, you're gonna get burned. Like, you got to be able to put teams away. You got to be able to close out, put them away. Right.
You got to keep your foot on their neck.
On the
Something
neck.
I didn't like in that game is we got stopped on 1 4th down conversion, but then it felt like after that we played a little too conservative. And man, I'm aggressive. Like, hey, let's keep this going. Let's try to get the momentum. And they took the momentum. Now, this play is one of the most impressive plays I've ever seen by Travis early in that game. The way he stopped, this was crazy. So this happened early in the game. I'm like, Travis's first game back. I'm like, oh, this is cake. We're gonna cakewalk through these guys.
But then they weren't gonna have an answer for Travis. I mean, he was just gonna do what
I was like, and I knew how hungry he was gonna be first game back. Being able to, show, hey, I'm still that guy. So that definitely that was a tough pill to swallow.
But I kind of feel like they kind of had their moment of, hey, okay, we're gonna whoop these guys. And then I feel like it kind of went cruise control in their mind. And then,
I think so too.
You started riding like that, and then all of a sudden they're like, well, hold up, these guys are still around. Hold up. And then all of a sudden, boom. And then it wasn't as easy to click it back on. Like, okay, we gotta.
I tell people the most demoralizing thing, like in boxing, if you feel like you big and bad and you the biggest tough guy, the hardest puncher, if you hit somebody with your hardest punches 3, 4, 5 times clean and they just still standing, like that's demoralizing. You like, hey, I hit him as hard as I could with the cleanest punches possible, and he just ate them. Like, hey, I ain't got no more energy for you. You got it. Like this, it felt like that during this game because after that, we just didn't have an answer. So we end up, I don't got to spend too much time on that. We lost that game. This UCLA game, just another tough one up front, interior wise, where we couldn't get the time that Shedeur needed to do what Shedeur needed to do.
Right.
Now I'm gonna show some clips later. Travis, crazy plays that game. Absolutely incredible. And this is another winnable game in my opinion. Like this isn't one that was out of reach. The only one that wasn't winnable was, to me, Oregon. Even though the Wazoo game was terrible as well, Shedeur got hurt early on. Like that's
right.
It's not the same team without Shedeur. So
no, with the UCLA game, I just felt like we came out first quarter, 2 field goals, we have 6-0. If you flip them 2 field goals to 2 touchdowns, you know what I'm saying?
It's a different game.
It's a different game, right? Touchdowns matters, people. They really do. Like, what I'm saying? It's different when you're up 6-0 in the end of the first quarter to being up 14-0 at the end of the first quarter. Because now you're forcing the other team to have to change. They got to make some real changes.
You got to play different.
Right.
Like, and I mean, you can see that because that's a team that, likes to run the ball, and be able to control the game. When you can run the ball, you can control the game.
Right.
That's what we're missing. Stanford doesn't happen if we can run the ball successfully. If you're up 29-0 and you're getting 5 yards a pop here and there, it's a different game. And I'm going to talk a little about him later, but he was my biggest disappointment because of his injury. But McCaskill, oh yeah, he gonna go. Next year, he gonna go. And I sent you his film early.
Yeah,
I
you was
love
on that guy.
him.
Yeah,
bro.
You was on.
Can't wait to see him play. So yeah, UCLA game, winnable game.
And I think that goes back to what you were saying earlier about the trenches, right? You got that offensive line that could get off the ball. You could establish that run game. You can, because I mean, Colorado, you pick your poison when it comes to running back.
Yeah, no, I definitely expected us to be able to run better, but now the way this year's going, as far as getting the linemen in the transfer portal and everything, we're gonna be able to run the ball next year. So that's Dylan plus, bro. I'm about to get 2 pumped. We're gonna go bananas. That's gonna be a crazy one. So then after that, we hit Oregon State.
Homecoming.
I'm at this game.
Yeah, you at the homecoming game.
I'm physically at this game. I'm in the second row for half of the game, first row for the rest. I played in this defense. The defense Charles Kelly runs. It's from the Saban tree. I played in this defense under my coach Travis Pearson, who's also part of the Saving Tree. I'm calling out all of Colorado's defensive plays from the stands. I know all their packages they got, their nickel package, their dime rabbit package, their money pack, like everything that they doing, their cheetah package. Like I played in those, so I know what's going on, what they're doing. Easily should have won this game. And again, Coach Prime talked about it. Offense took way too long to get going, but this was one. I wish I had more clips of this game. I'm calling it from the sideline. I'm on the sideline. This guy, he was actually in the Coach Prime episode. They showed him meeting Shedeur, and they said, "Hey, he flew from Hawaii." I'm sitting next to him during the game. He asked me, he was like, "Did you play ball? Because you're calling out every play the offense is about to run, every play defense. Every time they went to empty, I'm screaming, quarterback draw. What happens?
Quarterback draw.
Put the backup quarterback in. He takes one bounce, takes off, gone." And just kept doing that. He had scored, I believe this is him right here, the backup quarterback, Aiden Childs, and he might have scored later, but he kept getting huge rushes from that. But here, we're down 7-3.
Right.
We got the ball on our own, like 5 or 10. We're backed up, and we throw some incompletions. Oregon State gets the ball back when they shouldn't have. And I think it was a bad punt. Something happened to where they got the ball back in great field position. And then there's 16 seconds left on the clock. No way you can give up a 20-yard touchdown pass
with 16 seconds left. Yeah, no, man.
Protect the goal line.
Right.
That's all we got to do. I don't care if you catch it early and bounce, whatever. I don't even think they had timeouts left. But even if they did, cool. Force them into a field goal.
Right.
You cannot get beat deep. We got beat deep. Like the time you can't. And you talking about differences. I'm not fully sure on it, but I believe we got ball back at half. But regardless, going into half 7-3 versus 14-3 is completely different.
Completely different. Even going in half at 10-3 because it's still one score game. At that point.
We're good. Especially if you're getting the ball back at half, because then you're one possession away from either having a lead or being able to tie. So that was a tough one. We ended up getting the safety. Oh no, not the safety. This was hey, he can run. Breedlove. Oh my God. I remember this. He got it was the bro, I don't know if you've seen this play. Greatest thing I've ever seen. Oregon State makes the extra point, right? Penalty on the play. So they say we're going to go for 2. You're already up 21-3. What's the point in going for 2?
Right.
They try to go for 2 and they fumble it. Going for 2, being greedy. Takes that thing 100 yards the other way and was rolling.
Got him.
That's what y'all get.
Nobody
y'all wanted to be greedy. That's what y'all get. So then Travis Hunter scores, being Travis Hunter, which is just being a dog. And I might even have that play. You can hit the rest of the recap. Well, I think I got that play, and it's a crazy one. Let me find that one.
Yeah, no, I mean, I just feel like homecoming, it was hype. The crowd was crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could feel the energy. That's one thing I really like about the Colorado games. Like, you could feel the energy. Like, it's just, even like watching it through TV, you could just feel it. It's like, it's a movement. It's crazy, right? I feel like when we it was 23-12, we still there. We still there. Fourth quarter, 10 minutes. That's still plenty of time. So which is proven. Colorado. Oregon State goes down, they get another field goal. So we got them kicking field goals. You know what I'm saying? You getting touchdowns, you chopping away at that field goal lead. So
yeah, no, and I don't have that play. I'll have to find it later. But Travis caught the ball. All you see around him is, I think, 5 or 6 Oregon State defenders, and he just zips right between them, separates, gets into the end zone. Like just doing things that we expect from Travis.
Because he's a dog.
Travis,
Coach say,
absolute
Coach
dog.
Prime say he's an absolute dog. He different.
Absolute dog. So then we score late. 142. We have a chance to get the onside kick, but we don't. Another winnable game.
Right.
Oh man, this one was a tough one too. So then we move on to Arizona. a game we should have won, man.
Another game
Arizona
should have won.
and Arizona's a good team. They finished. I think they won their ball game. Played really good, and I think they might have been ranked top 10 at a point. I think Mata missed a field goal this game. Now in his defense, it missed because of distance, not because of accuracy. Accuracy is insane.
Right,
Absolutely insane. And this is a game, another one where I felt like we started playing too conservative.
Too soon.
Too soon. I felt like had we kept our foot on the gas, we would have been good. Because we're up 31-24.
31-24.
Start of the fourth. And then we're tied the whole fourth quarter.
And I couldn't believe we went scoreless in the whole fourth quarter.
And I remember we had the ball right before the end of the game. Let's see if I can pull it up here. And we couldn't convert. Let's see. It's time of possession. So our last drive ended with 4:57, and they got the ball and held the ball for the last 5 minutes. And we got down to we're right at like midfield.
But once again,
this is like we missed the field goal.
But I think that the problem we were having, when Shedeur is your leader rusher at 29 yards, it just ain't gonna cut it. Like, it's just not gonna cut it. Then Wilkerson came behind him with 21 yards. You got to establish the run. Like, you get these leads, you got to be able to run the ball. You have to be able to run the ball, just period. And
that's what I tell people. You know how good Shedeur is when they know you're going to pass the ball every time,
right?
And you're still putting up these numbers. But it's not a secret. Like my high school, when I played running back, we had 2 plays, Teray right and Teray left, and I'm still running through everybody. But when the defense knows exactly what you're going to do and you're one-dimensional, that's why that Oregon game looked like that.
Right.
If we have a run game, because all Oregon did was put their pass rushers in, pin their ears back, and go to work. Like, that's going to happen if you don't have an answer.
If you can't establish that run, right? If you can't counter them.
Why am I going to respect the run? Well, I'm going to send my edges upfield. We're not worried about getting behind the heels of the quarterback, or like, y'all can't run the ball. So having those scenarios that hurt us, and that's again another winnable game. This game, not going to spend too much time on this. Shedeur got hurt. We're not the same team without Shedeur.
Exactly.
We gave a punt return touch. This just got ugly. This game, Shedeur doesn't play. Travis Hunter gets BS touchdown callback. Actually 2. The dive in the end zone was a catch. That's what people get. The ball can touch the ground as long as you keep control of it. Right. If the ball doesn't cause you to lose control, the ball can move a little bit. As long as you still have control, it can touch the ground. That was a touchdown. He didn't step out of bounds. And what made me so mad about that play, which I see a lot of refs do, which is wrong, is they blew the whistle. Let the play finish out, and then you can decide if he stepped out or not. But when you blow the whistle, the play's dead. There's nothing else we can look at. So,
I looked at this game, bro. Honestly, you're going in there without our starting quarterback. I'm looking at this score. Like, Shedeur's in there. That's a win. Having Shedeur is easy enough. And by the way, at this point in time, Utah was ranked. So, like, Colorado, the Pac-12 was the dog. It was a dog.
Yeah, Utah had just who was that? Utah just gave a UW a dog fight.
Right. So mind that, right? They, what I'm saying? So, people are talking about it, but you're playing in the Pac-12, what I'm saying? You're going into Utah, with your backup quarterback, And I'm not to say, the kid did pretty good. He threw for 195 yards at a touchdown. We were right there, like you said, right there. Yeah. So it's just another one of those games. I'm like, even on top of all of that, like I said, way back in the early beginning, you always gonna get everybody's A game when you're Colorado. So if you come in as a recruit to commit to Colorado, know that you're gonna get everybody's best effort. Period. They all want to beat you.
And as a recruit, why would you not want that?
Right.
Why would you not?
Right. Yeah.
And back to Dan Lanning. That's why I don't respect people who talk like that. You know me, ain't nobody talk the way like I talk on the field.
Yeah.
But I would talk before the game, during the game, and after the game. And when you talk the way I talk, the way Coach Prime talked, the way the Buffs talk, people are gonna want to do everything they can to beat you.
Right.
And when you still beat them, that's what being a dog is.
Right.
I'm gonna come talk to you, make sure you mad, you gonna try to cook me, and then I'm gonna dominate you.
Right.
And it hurts that much more. But that's what a real competitor does. A competitor doesn't wait and be like, oh,
wait till they secure the win and then get to that talking, right?
Coach Prime wasn't quiet all offseason.
Nah,
he wasn't, and then waited till they beat TCU to start. Nah, he was talking all season. That's what dogs do. So, I mean, we'll go through this real quick. TCU, we got the win. Nebraska, we got the win. Colorado State, we got the win. I don't think this one was winnable this year. As far as, defense, we had people subbing in that corner. We weren't, Travis not playing. It wasn't a winnable game with what we had this year. Winnable. Obviously winnable. We won it. Oh my gosh.
Should have won that one.
Clearly winnable. Winnable.
Yep.
Winnable.
Should have won that one.
Winnable.
Yep.
Different game. We put
totally
Travis
different game when you got your starting
not Travis, but Shedeur.
Shedeur, yeah, that's a totally different game.
So, but I'll even take that off. Let's still have those two losses and winnable. So that's the difference between being, 4-8 and 10-2. And everyone's talking about this season. And even if we didn't get no one else new on the team other than offensive linemen, this schedule would be completely different. This result would be completely different. So I think with what we have now, because those games are winnable with what we had, that roster. Right. But now we've improved at every single position. And I think it's going to be a great 2024 season.
No, I agree. I mean, I'm looking forward, a new conference, new teams. I think 2024, man, it's a prime year. I think it's going to be, I think, because I think experience matters a lot, right? And I think,
for sure.
Coming from, I think Shedeur is going to be like, bro, I'm calling right now. I think we might got 1-2 Heisman's on the team this year. It's going in, bro.
At least.
I think it's going to get ugly out there for these cats. I think, I think Colorado, I think the Buffalo's going to stampede through these teams, man.
For sure.
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling like, I think 10-2 minimum. Like I'm feeling it. I'm the fan though. So, I'm
and we'll definitely get to the 2024 preview and go through who we got on schedule, but it's definitely favorable for us. I will say that.
Yeah. And I think you're going to see some things that, they ain't been done yet. I'm literally, Travis and Shedeur. I mean, we talking about two guys that could be 1 and 2 Heisman finals on the same team.
1 and 2 draft picks, and we'll talk about that too.
Oh, that'd be even crazier. Right?
Absolutely.